During the period when we had COVID globally, some people were frustrated because the things that they wanted to do were somehow put on hold, or they had many challenges accomplishing them. Other things were expedited and sped up and were very supported and you got to achieve. But there were sometimes things that were challenging. Anytime you feel overwhelmed by the challenges and you see things in the way, not on the way, then you can, if that's prolonged, feel a state of burnout. You know, whenever you're setting goals, real objectives that are aligned and congruent with what you value most, you increase the probability of achieving it, and you're willing to embrace the pain and pleasure in the pursuit of it. And you're in the flow, you might say. But the second you are attempting to set goals that are partly fantasies, that means you want a pleasure without a pain, a happy without a sad, a positive without a negative, a one-sided outcome that's fantasia. It's not going to happen. You don't get one-sided outcomes. And the second you do, then when all of a sudden the other side of the outcome shows up and you're trying to get rid of that and trying to only get one side, you're going to have futility, striving for that which is unobtainable and trying to avoid that which is unavoidable. And so then you keep having the distress of the challenge that you don't want because you want a one-sided world, and then the other side keeps smacking you. And then you burn out trying to get rid of the thing that's not going to get rid of and trying to get the thing that's not going to be obtained. In Buddhism, the Buddha said the desire for that which is unobtainable and the desire to avoid that which is unavoidable is the source of human suffering. So burnout is a byproduct of pursuing not high priority objectives that are balanced and that you're willing to embrace the pain and pleasure equally in the pursuit of. You're willing to mitigate the risks and calm down the fantasies and get really clear about a real objective. And you're striving for a one-sided fantasy and getting smacked by the other side that you're avoiding. It's like trying to get in a relationship. Imagine you're in a relationship and you have the expectation for it to be nice, never mean, kind, never cruel, positive, never negative, peaceful, never wrathful, generous, never stingy, considerate, never inconsiderate, supportive, never challenging. You expect it to be one-sided. Well, because of the expectation, and you have a fantasy of a one-sided relationship, which is not obtainable, when the other side comes in, you're going to be angry and aggressive. You're going to feel, you want to blame them and feel betrayed because it's not matching your fantasy. You're going to be critical and want to challenge them back. You're going to be despaired and depressed. You're going to want to escape and exit the relationship. You're going to feel frustration and futility and grouchy and grief and hatred and hurt and irritability and irrationality. And you're going to end up having a feeling of act like a jerk and be jaded about the whole thing because you have an unrealistic expectation about how people are going to be, this relationship. So when you do this fantasy, which is not obtainable, gets you smacked by the other side because the human being has both sides. You support their values, they're nice as a pussycat. If you challenge their values, they're mean as a tiger. So if you don't set a real objective to get both sides in the pursuit, then you're going to get smacked by the side that you don't want. And as a result of it, feel burned out because the part that supports what you want, gives you boredom, and the part that challenges what you don't want gives you burnout. And if you get boredom, you lose momentum and drive, and you become juvenilely dependent on the thing you fantasize, and you can't get it but half the time. And then the other half comes in with challenge, and it makes you precociously independent, it makes you grow up. It's the challenges that make you an entrepreneur. It's the challenges that make you innovate. So, but if you have an expectation of a one-sided world without it, then you're going to end up feeling burned out. Burnout is a feedback mechanism to let you know that you're pursuing something that's not highest on your value, that's not really balanced as an objective. It's not really something you're willing to embrace pain and pleasure in the pursuit of, and that you're striving for a one-sided world, a fantasy, and then when the other side hits, you're not prepared. You're not mitigating the risks in advance. You're not meditating on the evils, as the Stoics said, in advance to prepare. You're just sideswiped by the thing that you don't want. And it burns you out trying to get rid of it, and you can't, because it's like trying to get one-sided magnet or a one-sided coin or a one-sided top. And so burnout is actually a feedback mechanism to let you know to go back to priority, to set real objectives that are really truly meaningful, that you're willing to embrace the pain and pleasure in, that you're willing to embrace the challenges and the support, the ease and the difficulty, the pairs of opposites that come with all accomplishment, and ground yourself. You know, if you had nothing but support, again, you'd be juvenilely dependent. You need the challenge. And the challenge, that's why if you're not pursuing challenges that inspire you and embracing the two sides of life, you're going to end up with burnout. So burnout is basically seeing things in the way, not on the way. And that's because you're striving for that which is unobtainable and trying to avoid that which is unavoidable. So burnout is your friend, not your enemy. It's letting you know to set real objectives in real times with real strategies and embrace the two sides of life and quit setting yourself up with your amygdala, setting up for fantasies of one-sidedness. Anytime you're not living by priority and you're in you're out of your executive center and in your amygdala, you're likely to put yourself in a position of putting yourself towards fantasies and avoiding nightmares. And the nightmare burns you out. And the fantasy bores you. The two together, put together in perfect balance, gives you something you love that's inspiring, that's meaningful.